The dingy neon lights of Starbase 42's most notorious bar, the cosmic cesspool, cast an eerie glow on the mismatched patrons scattered throughout the smoky room. In a shadowy corner booth, two figures sat hunched over their drinks, one, a hulking, fur-covered creature with long arms and a protruding jaw, the other, a sleek, metallic humanoid with glowing optical sensors. Grok, the ape-like Chimanzar, took a long swig from his bubbling green concoction before fixing his beady eyes on his companion. "Listen here, Unit 7, he growled, his voice a gravelly rumble. "You're new to this sector, and there's something you need to understand about the races you'll encounter out here." The android, designated Unit 7, tilted its head slightly. Its voice came out in a soft, gender-neutral tone. "I am programmed with extensive data on 2,847 sentient species. What information could you provide that I do not already possess?" Grok's lips curled into what passed for a smile among Chimanzars. "Book learning ain't everything, Tin Can. There's nuance to dealing with different races that your databanks can't capture." Unit 7's optical sensors flickered, a sign of its processing this statement. "Please elaborate. I am always seeking to expand my knowledge base." "Well," Grok began, leaning in conspiratorially, "take the Tyrins and the rules, for example. Straightforward folks, the lot of EM. You can trust every word that comes out of their mouths. They couldn't lie if their lives depended on it." The android nodded. "This aligns with my existing data on Tyrene and rule psychology." "Then you've got the Vixers," Grok continued, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Nasty bunch. Never trust a Vixer, not even if they're telling you the sky is blue. They'd lie about the color of their own blood if they thought it'd give them an advantage." Unit 7's head tilted again, this time in the opposite direction. "Fascinating. My databanks indicate a 12.7% chance of truthful statements from Vixers, but your assessment suggests an even lower probability." Grok waved a hairy hand dismissively. "Your databanks don't know squat about real-world experience. But here's where it gets interesting." He paused dramatically, taking another swig of his drink. "There's one race out there that doesn't fit into any neat little category. A race so unpredictable, so maddeningly complex, that they defy all logic and reason." The android leaned forward, its curiosity subroutines fully engaged. "Which species are you referring to?" Grok's eyes gleamed with a mix of fear and fascination. "Humans," he said, nearly spitting the word. "Those hairless apes from Earth are unlike anything you've ever encountered." "Humans," Unit 7 repeated, accessing its relevant databases. "Bipedal mammals, origin Sol system Earth, technological level interstellar, threat assessment moderate, social structure complex. What about them defies categorization?" The Chimanzar chuckled darkly. "Oh, you poor, naive machine. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to humans. No idea at all." He gulped down the rest of his drink and signaled the bartender for another. "Buckle up, Unit 7. What I'm about to tell you about humans might just fry your circuits." As the bartender brought over another round of drinks, Grok prepared to delve into the bewildering world of human behavior, unaware that his words would soon push the android's processing capabilities to their very limits. Grok's meaty fingers wrapped around his fresh drink as he fixed Unit 7 with an intense stare. The android sat perfectly still, its optical sensors focused on the Chimanzar, ready to absorb every word. "Now, about these humans," Grok began, his voice low and gravelly. "You think you can categorize them like the Tyrins or the Vixers? Think again." Unit 7's head tilted slightly. "Please explain. My databases indicate humans have a diverse range of behaviors, but surely they must follow some predictable patterns." Grok let out a bark of laughter that caused nearby patrons to glance nervously in their direction. "Predictable? Humans? That's a good one, Tin Can. Let me break it down for you." He leaned in closer, his breath fogging Unit 7's metallic face. "Some humans, they lie all the time. They'll tell you the stars are made of cheese if they think it'll get them ahead. They're worse than the Vixers, I tell ya." The android's processors whirred as it attempted to reconcile this information with its existing data. "Interesting. So humans are universally deceptive." "Ha!" Grok exclaimed. "If only it were that simple. No, You see, some humans almost never lie. They're so honest it hurts. They'll tell you the brutal truth, even if it costs them everything. Unit 7's optical sensors flickered rapidly. I do not understand. How can the same species exhibit such extreme opposing behaviors? Grok grinned, revealing a row of yellowed teeth. Oh, it gets better. Most humans? They're somewhere in between. They might lie, they might tell the truth. You never know what you're going to get. The android's cooling fans kicked into a higher gear as it struggled to process this information. This seems highly inefficient and illogical. How does their society function with such unpredictability? Function? Who said anything about functioning? Grok chuckled. But here's the kicker, the thing that'll really fry your circuits. He paused for dramatic effect, taking a long swig of his drink before continuing. Some humans, they lie to protect others. Unit 7 went completely still, its processors working overtime to comprehend this statement. Clarification required. You are suggesting humans engage in deception for altruistic purposes. Grok nodded solemnly. That's right. They'll lie through their teeth if they think it'll keep someone else safe. Not for personal gain, mind you, just to help someone else out. Smoke began to rise from the joints in Unit 7's neck as it attempted to create a logical framework for this behavior. But that defies all rational self-interest algorithms. It contradicts game theory and optimal strategy calculations. It's impossible to understand. Grok finished for him. Now you're getting it. Or rather, you're realizing you can't get it. Humans don't just lie for their own gain. They lie, they tell the truth, they do both or neither, all based on a moral compass that's as unpredictable as a quantum particle. Unit 7's eyes flickered erratically, its voice distorting as it spoke. Error. Error. Unable to reconcile conflicting data. Human behavior outside parameters of logical analysis. Grok watched with growing excitement as more smoke began to billow from the android's head. He knew what was coming next, and he couldn't help but grin in anticipation. Humans, he whispered, leaning in close to Unit 7's audio receptors. The universe's ultimate paradox. Too complex for even the most advanced AI to comprehend. As Unit 7's systems began to overload, Grok sat back, a smug smile playing across his simian features. The trap was set, and soon he'd reap the rewards of his deception. After all, he mused, humans weren't the only ones who could lie for reasons beyond simple personal gain. The acrid smell of burning circuits filled the air as Unit 7's systems reached critical levels. Grok watched with barely concealed glee as the android's sleek frame shuddered and jerked, smoke pouring from every joint. System. Error. Human behavior. Illogical. Does not compute. Unit 7's voice glitched and stuttered, its once smooth tones degrading into a cacophony of electronic squeals. Grok leaned back in his seat, casually sipping his drink as if watching a mildly interesting holovid. The other patrons of the cosmic cesspool had long since retreated to a safe distance, eyeing the malfunctioning android with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Altruistic deception. Contradicts. Prime directives. Unit 7 continued to babble, its optical sensors flashing erratically. Humans, unpredictable, cannot categorize. With a final, desperate whine of overtaxed servos, Unit 7 slumped forward onto the table, its systems finally shutting down to prevent a catastrophic meltdown. A thin trail of smoke rose from its now dark eye sockets, carrying with it the acrid scent of fried circuitry and shattered logic gates. Grok's grin widened, revealing every one of his yellowed teeth. He glanced around the bar, noting with satisfaction that the other patrons were pointedly avoiding looking in his direction. Perfect. With practiced ease, the Kimanzar reached into a hidden pocket of his worn jacket and pulled out a small toolkit. His fingers, far more dexterous than their meaty appearance suggested, nimbly unfastened the clasps on Unit 7's outer casing. "Oh, you poor, naive little circuit board," Grok muttered as he began to strip the android for parts. "Did you really think a Chimanzar would waste his time educating you out of the goodness of his heart?" He chuckled to himself as he extracted a particularly valuable processor chip. Humans might lie to protect others, but US Chimanzars, we lie to protect our profit margins. As he worked, Grok reflected on the beautiful irony of the situation. He had told the absolute truth about humans and their baffling complexity. It was this truth, not a lie, that had short-circuited the android's logic centers. Sometimes, reality was a far more potent weapon than any deception. You know, he mused aloud to the lifeless android, maybe I'm not so different from those humans after all. My lie wasn't for personal gain, not directly anyway. It was to protect my future self from the inconvenience of poverty. Grok barked out a laugh at his own joke as he pocketed the last of the valuable components. He stood up, leaving the hollowed-out shell of Unit 7 slumped over the table like a drunken patron who had one too many. As he sauntered towards the exit, Grok couldn't help but feel a twinge of admiration for the humans. Their unpredictability made them dangerous, sure, but it also made them fascinating. In a universe of binary truths and lies, they were a swirling galaxy of grays. Maybe next time, he mused, I'll try this trick on a human. Now that would be a real challenge. With that thought, Grok stepped out into the neon-lit streets of Starbase 42, his pockets heavy with ill-gotten gains and his mind alight with possibilities. In a galaxy full of predictable races, humans and Chimanzars stood apart, complex, cunning, and always ready to surprise. The bar's door swung shut behind him, leaving behind only the empty husk of Unit 7 as a testament to the dangers of trying to apply logic to the beautifully illogical nature of humanity. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you loved it. Please remember to subscribe if you did like it so you can see more videos like this. And please give us a like and a comment too. I'll see you in the next one.